This is Doug Scheiding, the Rogue Cookers, Texas embedded correspondent. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good evening and welcome to the Really Big BBQ Central Show. This is a show that talks about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling, originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you right here as we enjoy 120 minutes of live fire cooking and shenanigans and tomfoolery. If you want to jump in on the show tonight through a phone call or email, happy to have you do that.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, last Wednesday we did the live reveal of the class that makes up the 2020 BBQ Hall of Fame, as the American Royal sees it. And the first hour is, quite frankly, jam-packed with brand new BBQ Hall of Famers. Joining me first out of the gate, the co-owner / founder of Franklin Barbecue, widely considered to be the staple of Texas barbecue and has been for any number of years. Texas Monthly has rated them number 1, number 2 on their top 50 list. That list pretty much is where you want to be if you're a Texas barbecue restaurant. And Aaron is certainly the name that everybody thinks of, that everybody wants to hang out with. It's the place they want to go when they are visiting Austin specifically, or if they are going to be around the Austin area. They want to make sure that they hit it up. They'll take their lawn chairs. They know there's going to be the wait, the whole thing that goes along with Franklin Barbecue. He is a successful author. He's got some other restaurant interests. So we will see what it's like for the most current Barbecue Hall of Famer, Aaron Franklin, and all of the spoils that may or may not come along with that title and enshrinement. So looking forward to getting him, and live on the show, I might add. We tried to grab him Wednesday right after his name, along with the two others that were announced. I'll get to that here in a second. But he was in Lowe's buying electrical stuff, and that was way more important than getting first reaction on Hall of Fame stuff. But we'll do it right here in about 11 minutes. Then we'll move to 35 past the hour. We will keep up with the Hall of Fame talk as we catch up with a staple of Memphis barbecue. As I had stated last week and weeks earlier, when you think of Memphis barbecue, you think of dry rubs, you think of wet ribs, you think of Rendezvous and Charlie Virgos, and you also think of Cozy Corner. I'll be joined by 2/3 now of the class of 2020, Aaron Franklin being the first. Desiree Robinson will join me 35 past, another Hall of Famer here in 2020. All that's left for me is to hook up a Joe Don Davidson from Oklahoma Joe. Hopefully we'll do that here in the next week or so, and then we will quickly have gotten through the class of 2020, but that's the reach of this show. So I'm very excited, very humbled, very honored to be joined by Desiree. She is still, through many different articles, working part-time, but great story. Certainly well-deserved to be in this Hall of Fame. I don't think when we voted last week, she was one of the two that made it unanimously in the Embedded Correspondence Hall of Fame picks. I wouldn't be surprised if she was 100% picked by everybody. Beloved, again, a staple. When you think of Memphis-style barbecue, you think of Cozy Corner, you think of that aquarium smoker, you think of the Cornish game hen, and I want to get that story most of all. So very looking forward to this first hour. A Hall of Fame first hour, if I haven't said it already, and I know I have. Then we'll move to the second hour. Now, traditionally, you would find two first Tuesday of the month regular guests. That being Malcolm Reed in the first hour, but he's unavailable. You would also find a first Tuesday of the month in the second hour, Sam the cooking guy. He's unavailable. My go-to regular guest in week one of a month, roundly unavailable. Luckily, I am always well prepared. That is the motto of the show. Be over-prepared. If you're over-prepared and things go the way you planned, oh, who cares? You have plenty of stuff to get to when things go off the rails. Well, today and over the last week, things went off the rails a little bit. Luckily, I have a stockpile of crazy good entertainment, not the least of which is the unveiling of the BBQ Central show American Idol winner. That's right. It all culminates this evening at 10:14. Will your humble host be taking away the American Idol BBQ Central show crown, or will it be Jeff Rice from Wisconsin? Who knows? We'll see. Coming up in about an hour and 8 minutes from now, we will be joined in studio by the expert panel of judges. They've been with us here through the last 3 months as we play it out. And we will also have Jeff Rice on the line and learn live right here who is the first ever American Idol BBQ Central Show edition champion. And then we also decide if we ever want to have a season 2. That's up for debate. Closing out the show this evening, 35 past, he has his own food and racing show and sports show over on the big-ass blowtorch in the windy city of Chicago, WGN 720. Second-timer here to this show. He hosts On the Road with Dane. Dane Neal will be joining us. We're going to be talking about the BBQ Fite Klub. It's a pay-per-view barbecue contest taking place next Monday and Tuesday in a undetermined location that is triple top secret. So top secret, I use the old, hey, I'm a media guy, you're a media guy, Dane. Just give it to me, and I will maintain my source. Total confidence. And I was rebuffed. Roundly rebuffed. We'll see if we can't dig it out of him during the course of the interview, but we'll be talking BBQ Fite Klub and what it's all about. Big show planned for you. Hall of Fame first hour, might be a Hall of Fame content second hour. More importantly, are you following me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, /BBQ Central Show on Facebook, where there's also a live video feed right off the rip. And this is basically going to deaf ears on the YouTube side because YouTube folks are feverishly refreshing and Where's the feed? Where's the feed? Bad news. No YouTube feed going forward. Why? Well, it's all return on investment. If I'm going to invest the bandwidth up to YouTube while I'm also streaming to Facebook, it would behoove me to then garner at least somewhere in the neighborhood of eyeballs and views and reach that I get on the Facebook side. And for months on end, it just hasn't been the case. So why am I going to continue to trot out that loser when I can save the bandwidth for a better guest experience and connection? And then after this show is done, tomorrow, maybe the next day, maybe the day after that, I'll get to uploading this show in its entirety to the YouTube channel, and it will continue to get its crappy 200 views. Who cares? The Wednesday reveal on the Facebook for the 2020 BBQ Hall of Fame in the middle of the day had 1,000 views by the time we closed up shop 15 minutes later, and it's only gained steam from there. So I'm going to conserve until YouTube proves otherwise, which I don't know how it's going to do that unless I trot out a stream one time just to see. I'm not going to get to it. I'm not going to put my bandwidth for YouTube to grab. I'll save it for my guests. I'll save it for the Facebook folks. I'll save it for the audio stream only folks, which you can do on your phone if you visit my website, listen to the audio only stream, punch that. And after you suffer through an ad through TuneIn, you can get it just like any other app that you would get a live stream on. I would suggest that is the funnest way to hear the show. No looking, only listening. Super fun. Oh my God, I'm so excited to tell you about this. Brand new sponsor of the show announcement, and somebody you know and love in the pit building business, Pits and Spits. They've been on the show since 1983. They've been handcrafting smokers and grills in Houston, Texas, and in that time, established itself as one of the premier brands in high-quality offset smokers and more recently pellet cookers. They've set themselves apart by using heavy 7 and 10 gauge steel in every cooker, fully welded construction that you can feel when you use the unit, and a 304 stainless roll top lid and front shelf on every single smoker. So why does it matter? Well, by using higher quality materials, Pits and Spits smokers reach and maintain temperatures, allowing you to worry more about the meat than the heat. Providing fully welded smoke, you don't have to worry about grease or smoke leaking out of the barrel or about the grill rattling apart as you move it through the backyard, and you're going to do that at some point. And by using 304 stainless steel, you're getting an heirloom quality product that you'll be able to pass down to your kids and maybe their kids to their kids. Where some companies focus on being the low-cost provider, Pits and Spits focuses on craftsmanship, using high-quality materials. Are there cheaper ways to do this? Sure. But they don't like tack welds, cheap stainless, and electronics that you can't trust. Having in-house manufacturing gives them complete control of the design and standards. That's not something you'll find with other products that are brought in from overseas. Their steel suppliers supply materials to be used in some of the harshest environments, so they'll perform in any conditions, especially here in Cleveland. And the controllers are made right here in the USA, so full unimpeded transparency to their programming. Look, Pits and Spits has a dealer network across the country, but if there isn't one near you, give them a call at the shop, 844-650-6250. That's 844-650-6250. Whether you're a backyard grill master looking to cook steaks for the fam or a competition team looking to smoke 50 racks of ribs, Pits and Spits has a product for you. You can check them out at Pits and Spits. That's PITTSAND. SPITTS, Pits and Spits spelled out, or see their pits in the wild across all social media with their handle at Pits and Spits, and is spelled out again, AND, Pits and Spits. Brand new sponsor. Come on, guys. So excited to have these guys on here over the next handful of months, maybe even longer. You in the market for a pit, an offset, a new pellet cooker that's high end? Pits and Spits. Check them out. Let's go. Aaron Franklin out of the break. Stick around.
Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, this portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher BBQ, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils. All of Butcher BBQ products have been tested on the competition circuit as well as backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood and visit butcherbbq.com to stock up now. Always trust your butcher. My first guest tonight, easily one of the most popular names in the barbecue industry. In the past, you've seen him judge on barbecue pitmasters, has a barbecue masterclass over on the masterclass website. Shot a barbecue show for PBS, has a great YouTube channel. Also happens to run the joint in Texas that's been voted as best barbecue in Texas. Tonight we can add BBQ Hall of Famer to the list as well. We race to the hotline and welcome back friend of the show, Aaron Franklin. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, how's it going?
We are absolutely fabulous here in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city. Excited to catch up with you and chat a little bit of barbecue. We'll get into the Hall of Fame stuff here in a second, but let's start here. I think it's fair to say that your name and the restaurant have become the face of what Texas-style barbecue is by and large. Certainly, there's a number of great restaurants out there in the great state of Texas. We're not questioning that. But let me ask you, do you think if you had started in some other city, Kansas City or Cleveland or who knows where, that you would have seen the same success and popularity that you are currently experiencing at Franklin and Austin?
It's kind of hard to say. I mean, I think it's not really so much about the barbecue scene, that's down here in Texas versus the barbecue scenes that are up in other parts of the country. I think it's more about the community in Austin that's kind of, allowed us to do what we do and prosper and gave us a lot of support along the way. So maybe it could. I don't know. It's really hard to say.
Do you think you could make a successful Cleveland-style barbecue if you had to?
I got to be honest. I don't really know what Cleveland-style barbecue is.
Well, just lob a phone call to the Iron Chef, Michael Simon. He's making a run of it here in East 4th Street, right downtown, with a Cleveland-style bar. I mean, it looks a hell of a lot like Texas-style barbecue, but I believe there are some key Cleveland ingredients like a gray ballpark mustard and a Lawson's chip dip that's served with those pork cracklings. So he's, sprinkling a little bit of Cleveland perhaps on a Texas-based barbecue menu.
Hey, man, I'll take it. I haven't been to Cleveland in decades. It sounds delicious.
Next time you're in town, I'll take you my treat, or maybe we can just bill it back to the Iron Chef. I'm sure he's happy to take care of it. We're talking with Aaron Franklin from Franklin Barbecue. Aaron, mid-March saw the world change for many businesses as we learned how to navigate through coronavirus. So how did that affect you guys initially, and how have you been able to evolve or pivot during this particular time?
We switched to curbside a couple days before the city of Austin made all the restaurants switch to curbside or to go. And thank goodness, barbecue is kind of a to-go sort of food anyway. So we didn't really have to re-gear too much at our restaurant, but we did have to write new software for the ordering and the website and change a bunch of stuff. And it took us a couple weeks to get used to it, but we're still hunkered down doing it. Not quite ready to let 700 people through an 800 square foot dining room yet.
So how do you navigate when that particular hurdle gets jumped? Is that more of a listen to what the healthcare people are saying and what your local government is saying, or is that more of a feel for you and your wife and the rest of the crew over at Franklin?
Well, I think like a good piece of barbecue, it's going to be by feel. I think it really has so much to do with the comfort level of everybody that works at the restaurant, the comfort level of our guests and stuff. And, I don't know if you've been through Franklin, but it's pretty tight. We pack them in pretty good. So it would kind of change things. It would definitely feel strange. So I think we're just going to hold out until it feels like pretty much back to normal, and we'll just kind of see what happens. I'd imagine we do the curbside for another month or two, but really, I mean, I think it's definitely going to come down to when Stacy and I feel comfortable doing it.
I was talking to my best friend Daniel Vaughn the other night, and he was asking.
Hey, I know that guy.
Yeah, everybody knows that guy. He's a great barbecue writer. He was asking me, because he's originally a Buckeye from Worcester, Ohio area, and said, hey, what's the feel of Cleveland like? And I said, it's a little tepid to a certain degree. This was a week ago, or a little over a week ago, where restaurants were starting to open patios. There was the whole distance stuff, and there wasn't like a slam of people out there, and it felt more like a cautious Cleveland. I said, what's it like down where you're at? And he's like, man, it's like the opposite. People just seem to be throwing caution to the wind, and it was all ganged up. How are you seeing people returning back to whatever this reopen looks like where you're at?
gosh, it's really weird. You kind of drive by, and I haven't, been to any restaurants. I'm not quite up to the task yet.
Yeah.
We'll wait a couple weeks, see how it goes. But, you can go to some restaurants, like the ones out by the lake, and, there's 500 people hanging out there, and they don't have masks on, and they're, whizzing around on boats and stuff. And then you go to kind of like a place maybe more urban, which I guess kind of fits the demographic anyway. And people are far more reserved. So there's a lot of restaurants that have opened up around here that really, nobody, it's pretty spread out. So I guess around here, it kind of just depends on where you go. We've got a little bit of everything. So I think it's kind of a mixed bag.
Last night I was talking to a guy that owns a barbecue restaurant in San Diego, and I was asking him how he was approaching whatever a reopen looked like over there. And he said, you know what? We have been able to pivot so well and do so good at social media and digital hospitality, as he calls it, to the point where he's actually putting off returning to some semblance of normality because he's actually raking really well right now. Is that a task or a mindset that a lot of restaurants should have going forward? So if this ever represents itself again, they'll be ready to make that move?
Well, I think it's a good thing to keep in the back of your mind. I mean, there's no vaccine for this thing. It's very possible that there could be, another round, come wintertime, there could be another round next year. We don't really know. And the thing is, as we don't really seem to have reliable data for anything because it hasn't been going on for very long. So there's really no way to really have foresight to what's going to happen. So I know for us, we're certainly thinking about not necessarily keeping it going with the curbside for a real long time. But if things did change again in the future, now we kind of have a platform for ourselves to use. We've kind of built the infrastructure out. So, yeah, I think it's a great thing to keep in the back of your, possibly, one of your bag of tricks.
Aaron Franklin joining me here on the show. FranklinBBQ.com, the website, of course. All right, Aaron, so let's talk about it. Wednesday this past week, exclusively here on the BBQ Central show, we had Emily Park from the American Royal Association, and they did their unveiling of the class of 2020 for the BBQ Hall of Fame. Desiree Robinson, who I'll have on next segment, made it in. Joe Don Davidson, Oklahoma Joe, made it in. And rounding out the three is a guy named Aaron Franklin from Franklin BBQ. So I guess as you learn about getting into the Hall of Fame, some of the thoughts and feelings that wash over you, and I guess where does something like that rank for you?
Pretty high, I guess. And by the way, thanks for texting me and letting me know.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I had no idea. So that was pretty cool. I was kind of excited. I think right now it's really actually means a little bit more since everybody's kind of down in the dumps with everything a little bit. And it's like, like a business is struggling and everybody's having a hard time. Like, it's kind of, pretty cool for me. But really, I think I do a pretty good job of maybe not paying much attention to things like that. I'm always kind of I'd kind of like to, Forrest Gump my way through things. Maybe like, oh yeah, that's a cool award. Neato. And not really read into it too much and think about it too much. But I'm super duper excited about the Hall of Fame. I think that's way cool.
Does anything speak to where the general visibility of the BBQ Hall of Fame rank amongst the general public? Like if it's something that you don't think about, or like I'm the first guy that's texting you, for me, it seems like the Hall of Fame should be holding something a little bit more weight. And I'm not saying that you don't think it's a big deal. You've said, obviously, it's a very big deal. But I've talked to any number of other people who either, A, didn't know there was a BBQ Hall of Fame, or B, didn't know the process or how people are selected or all this other stuff. Or maybe because it's so new, it's just something that needs to gain continual steam. Thoughts on that at all?
No, I think it barbecue, kind of what we all do. And granted, barbecue's far more in the mainstream now than it's ever been as far as like restaurant barbecue. so is competition barbecue, but like KCBS and IBCA and all those little pockets. I think they're still maybe not super duper mainstream. So maybe the general public, they don't maybe know about these things. But I think within certain circles, I mean, obviously that's what's going on. That's what people are really into. And I certainly have known about this thing for a real long time, since the beginning. I think it started 5 or 6 years ago or so.
When the American Royal took it over, but believe it or not, it existed online originally as just some kind of an online presence that remained fairly stagnant for some time. Originally founded on good terms, but just didn't really go anywhere until the Royal got a hold of it and has now made it into what it is. Certainly partnering with the show over the last couple of years and releasing names here has really added gas to the proverbial fire. But getting it out there and getting people more aware is only going to increase visibility. Would you say that you would show up for the whole ceremony and make the speech and all that? You looking forward to that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was actually there the first. What was the year that? Oh gosh, I went to the. I want to say it was the first year that they gave out the Hall of Fame award. I was actually there at the ceremony hanging out with some friends. I've actually been there before, and I would love to go back.
Was that the year that they put in Guy Fieri?
Yes, it was that year.
All right, yeah, so that would have been the first year that the American Royal took it over.
Okay.
So you'll be there. You'll be making the speech. It'll be great. Desiree will be there, obviously. Joe Don Davidson. So that'll be the class that you're going in for as well. Since you're going to be there, any chance you might take a shot at the American Royal Open?
I've never cooked on the dark side before.
Well, it's not even there anymore. It's at the racetrack now. So it's either all the dark side or all the good side, I guess.
Well, okay, I'd much rather be on the good side. I guess that dates how long it's been since I've cooked out there. I don't know. I don't know that I would pull a trailer and all that stuff up there. We'll have to see what the schedule looks like.
Aaron Franklin joining me here on the show, talking about his induction into the 2020 BBQ Hall of Fame. Some of the other things that you're having interest in, I remember talking to you the last time about pit building, and I think at that point we were just kind of getting maybe a website together and some concepts, maybe a team of welders. How is that particular venture going? Are they for sale and available? What's going on?
We actually are just about to start calling the first people on the list. We did actually build a website. We've been producing. We have an active production line right now. So we built, what we ended up building just to keep up with the demand before we actually even sold anything, it pretty much looks like a car manufacturing plant. I mean, it's got like robot arms, all these hydraulic things that press things together, and we water jet everything, and we laser cut everything, and they're just beautiful. I'm glad that it kind of took a while, because the product really shows for it. But yeah, hopefully the goal would be to have at least a handful of them starting to trickle out right before July 4th weekend.
These are only available online, obviously, or are there perhaps thoughts of opening up some kind of a dealer network down the road?
Not for now. I think we're just going to sell them ourselves through the website, and then, of course, you could get them freighted, and we'll have white glove delivery. You could go to the shipping station and pick it up, and we've managed to work with a cool freight company out of Austin, keeping everything pretty local around here. And we're able to get them all over the country pretty darn cheap.
From a uniqueness standpoint, obviously, it's very cool if you get one in your backyard and you can tell all your barbecue geek buddies that you have a Aaron Franklin made pit. But what sets itself apart from some of the other pits that are out there?
I think the size of it is pretty neat. You can fit 3 briskets on there, which I think is a real good size for backyard. Everything's made out of 5/16. It's all U.S. made steel. It's all made American stuff. It actually has a stamp on it. This thing should last you 100 years if you treated it right. So I think alone on just the quality of materials, is better than pretty much anything else I've seen. The craftsmanship is amazing. I mean, it looks like robots did these welds. They're just gorgeous. The design's really good. One thing that I think is pretty cool, and this is kind of really what makes Franklin Barbecue, and it's certainly how I like to cook, but it's the way the airflow works on these things. So kind of the back of the door, it has a logo in it, but it also has these little holes that let just the right amount of air so you can't choke off a fire. And that's kind of what, keeps the convection going, all the chaotic airflow and all this stuff, and keeps you with a clean fire. So I think as a result of that airflow, it just inherently tastes better.
Are the holes there solidly, or do you have some type of a cover where you can feather them a little bit more open or a little bit more closed? No.
There is no damper. It is completely, I think, perfectly calibrated for the perfect fire. And this kind of goes into how we cook at Franklin Barbecue. And, I think I talked about it in the book. It's definitely in the master class and stuff.
Yep.
But kind of these cookers were designed to make someone learn how to really work a fire. Where instead of just throwing a log on and pinching the door a little bit, going to bed, it's like you really have to build a relationship with a cooker, because that's kind of, I feel like, what barbecue is. I mean, you're staring at a fire, you're really messing with the details, you're spending all this time and energy on this perfect little piece of meat. And I think to have a barbecue pit that you have to pay attention to, and you really have to think about the piece of wood that you put on there, what flavor you're going to get out of it, what kind of airflow, what kind of moisture, all the stuff that's going on in an offset cooker. This cooker is really built for that. So, it's kind of like a cast iron skillet. The more you use it, the better it gets. And that's kind of the theory behind this thing.
Do you think as a society there has been a trend, I don't know, over the last 24 months or so, to a product that completely takes that out of your hands? Now, from my perspective, I have an offset on my patio when I have the time. To me, there's nothing more exciting and romantic than starting a fire from scratch, being able to maintain that fire through the cook. Plus, at the end, again, my personal opinion, a stick burner provides a flavor and a end product that is second to none. Do you think that
Absolutely.
people don't want to make that time investment anymore?
I think it depends on the person. And, of course, it depends on your schedule and, if you, kind of where your priorities lie, I guess. I mean, there are plenty of times that I wish I could just go to bed and not stare at a fire overnight. Totally get it, and I think that's fine. But I think for the people that really do want to just totally nail the details and really care for this thing and care for the meat and put that much love into it, it definitely fits the mold. So I don't know that the cooker's for everybody, but it's definitely for the person that wants to spend time on it and really have an investment with it.
Is there a link from the main Franklin website over to the Smoker website, or do you have something completely separate?
Oh, gosh, there probably is, but it's franklinbbqpits.com.
All right, franklinbbqpits.com, and we are talking with Aaron Franklin. He is one of the newest members of the BBQ Hall of Fame. That's right, for 2020, chatting right here. You can visit franklinbbq.com or franklinbbqpits.com to grab yourself one of those cool offsets. Aaron, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You got it. There he is, Aaron Franklin, a barbecue Hall of Famer right there if you need him. And it sounds like business is pretty A-okay over there. Doesn't hurt that the reputation for years and years that he is so well built and deserved is probably helping him along as well. But the term digital hospitality is becoming more and more apparent for those that are operating during this time. And you're either going to be good at it, or you might want to try to be better at it, or you're going to suffer. Desiree Robinson coming up after I talk to you about the BBQ Guru, creators of automatic pit temperature control technology. That's right. Shotgun Fred is the guy that created all of this goodness. Had a customer come in who had a barbecue pit. He said, hey, don't you mess around with these Build me one for my barbecue pit, for crying out loud. Fred, being the engineering type and inventor and creator and problem solver that he is, said, all right, come back in a couple weeks. I'll have something for you. Lo and behold, the BBQ Guru is made. Now, over the years, they've continued to innovate, not the least of which is the last two controls that they have coming out, the DynaQ and the Ultra Q. So the DynaQ is replacing the Party Q, so if you've had a Party Q in the past, you want to get the latest version that's out there, DynaQ is the one you're going to want to take a look at. And if you want something to replace the CyberQ Cloud, then the Ultra Q is the one. Now, great interfaces, a little easier to read, cool digital lights. But depending on the level of tank, what you want to spend, all that, that's going to regulate where you want to look, either the Ultra or the DynaQ. If you're also looking for a ceramic cooker, they make the Monolith. The Monolith, of course, has that built-in power draft fan. So if you have a controller that you already like, just hook it up to the fan and away you go. You're off and running. Great accessories as well. Any questions, give them a call, 800-288-GURU, or shoot them email over at the website, bbqguru.com. That's bbqguru.com. Bob's got also his great rubs and sauces. I tried the steak rub and Mighty Mitch's wing sauce. Both phenomenal. Wow. I'm a big steak rub guy, very critical. And Matty Steak Rub, right on the button for me. And Mighty Mitch's wing sauce. I'm super partial to my homemade wing sauce, the Anchor Bar original recipe from No Names Please. Mighty Mitch's is right up there, I got to say. Good job, Bob. Desiree Robinson coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the BBQ Central show.
And we thank Aaron Franklin again for joining us last segment. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets. Visit cookinpellets.com for more information or to purchase. You can also visit amazon.com if you would like to as well. Either way, you can buy them there. Great flavors, great other stuff too. Plus, every now and again, they attempt a podcast. They try. They really do. Hey, let's keep the Hall of Fame talk going. My next guest was also named to the 2020 class this past Wednesday, an exclusive reveal. It is a Memphis barbecue staple. Let's go ahead and welcome first-timer to the show and co-founder of Cozy Corner BBQ. Racing to the hot... Oh, no, dude. Okay. Let's try that again. Whoa. It just went away altogether. Let's try this again. It was there, and then it wasn't. Go to call. Let's race to the hotline. And welcome in, first timer to the show, Desiree Robinson. Hey, Desiree. Desiree? No. No, Desiree. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to put it on mute. I'm not going to go through the whole introduction again, but for anybody that's listening, I'll go back and rerun the edit on that so I can tie it all together. But let's race to the hotline and welcome in our second Hall of Famer this evening. Aaron Franklin last segment. Desiree Robinson right now. Hey, Desiree. No, Desiree. What the hell is going on? It's there, it's not, it's there, it's not. Now I'm going to have to be incredibly unprofessional and dial again, and you're going to have to hear the ringing. I apologize up front. Let's see what happens. I got to diagnose. All right, this is a good sign right here. Let's see what happens. This is now a bad sign. The number you're calling is full.
Hello?
Desiree?
She is not with me.
She's not with you.
No, I'm
dear.
sorry. I forgot the time difference.
Oh, no.
I'm headed towards her. I'm
problem.
closing down the restaurant and headed towards her, but...
Is this Val?
This is Val, her daughter.
All right. Well, you were going to get a mention in the interview anyway, so holler to Val right now. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
How can I help you?
Well,
I can probably answer most of the questions.
Yes, that's fine. So,
okay.
Last Wednesday, exclusively here on this show, the class of 2020 revealed, and Desiree, obviously one of the three to get in. Obviously, this is something that I'm just not breaking out to you guys right now, so you've had time to talk about it. The conversations that you've had with her, some of her thoughts about learning, getting into the Hall of Fame this year.
We've had several conversations on it, and she is so excited. As a matter of fact, we all are, because it's just not something that we thought about happening for us.
So there's two easy follow-up questions here. Number one is, did any of you have any idea that there was a BBQ Hall of Fame that was existing out there?
I did. Yes.
You did? All right. Well, thank goodness.
I did, yeah.
Believe it or not, I've asked a lot of prominent people in the barbecue world. They have no idea that there's a BBQ Hall of Fame that's out there. But we're trying to rectify that situation. Okay, good. Now, second question. Did Desiree know that she is actually a repeat semifinalist? Last year, she was on the semifinalist of 9 names. Obviously didn't get in, but this year returns as a semifinalist and ultimately clears the hurdle to get into the Hall of Fame this year. Did you know that she was a 2-time semifinalist?
That I did not know.
Aha, there we go. Trivia question for you, Val. You can win $5 at a clip if you ask it in the right place.
Right.
Let me ask you something. So, you've been around Desiree, obviously, and you know the history of the whole restaurant. When you look at Memphis, because when we talk about barbecue to anybody around this great land, there are certain meccas of barbecue. We have the Carolinas, we have Texas, we have Memphis, we have Kansas City. Certainly there's other meccas that are trying to make themselves some of these staples, but Memphis is certainly one of the ones that everybody talks about and wants to visit to get a piece of. In your mind, in your opinion, what makes Memphis-style barbecue?
Wow.
Super easy question.
Super easy question. Southern love would be the simplest answer I could give. Just Southern love, just the way we do things.
It's not a recipe or a rub or fuel. This is something that is coming from the soul, basically.
I think so, yeah, because as I have listened to and read about other areas and their barbecue styles, everybody's doing their thing. Some people are using, charcoal. Some are using wood chips. Some are using a combination. And then you have how long you cook it, how hot you cook it. And even here in Memphis, there are people doing different things. But I think it's just something about the South and the love that we have for it and are putting in it. And it's not to say that the others don't have that love, don't have a love, they don't have that one. They have their love. Mm-hmm. So it's for us, I would say Southern love. North Carolina, I would say Eastern love for their style. But, yeah.
Val, what's your last name? I'm sorry.
My last name is Bradley.
Bradley?
Yes.
All right, Val Bradley joining me here on the show. Cozy Corner BBQ.com, by the way, is the website if you want to check it out and you don't know anything about it, which you're probably living under a rock, but go ahead and check it out anyway. Well, the story of thinking about opening a restaurant back in 1977, so 43 years ago or so, give or take, isn't unlike a lot of stories that you hear about today, which is someone in the house can cook really well. Friends and family encourage that person to open a restaurant, so they do it. And I can tell you one thing, Val, how many times I have heard the same thing through my years of cooking barbecue here in the backyard. Oh, Greg, these are so good. You should go open a restaurant. I've never thought once that I would take the risk and open up a restaurant, not just because I'm in Cleveland and not a traditional barbecue area. But do you know or has Desiree ever recounted to you the stories that her and Raymond had as they were leading up to making a decision to starting Cozy Corner?
Well, first of all, from I think it's 1956, late 50s, or maybe 58, I think it was 58, to 1966 or so, they lived in Denver. And I know that at that point, Dad started tweaking sauces. And he opened a restaurant in Denver called Ray's BBQ. Once he got it where he liked it, and to see how it would go. And then we moved back to Memphis, and he went to work. And I think he just finally decided, I think I'm going to go ahead and do this, because he was basically doing it at home, because people were ordering things, and he was cooking it at home and getting it to them. So he finally went ahead and found this place, because we've been in the same place the whole time.
Wow.
And opened it up. And he and Mom decided that one would go to work and get a job, and the other one would run the business. So she said she wanted to get a job, so, to keep the house going and everything going, and he came in and worked the business.
Are there any ties back to the Chicagoland area? Because the thing that is most unique to me when I watch videos and do some research on Cozy Corner is there's an aquarium smoker in that place. That typically smacks of the Chicagoland area and how they use it. Any reason that particular smoker is there?
There was a man here, and I want to say his name was Joe Arcady or something like that, who made the pits here. And as far as I know, he made a pit that is now in Chicago. I'm just not sure, because that's been so long ago. That pit was in the building here. As a matter of fact, it was one of the reasons Daddy selected this place. Was because the pit was here. So that's how that got started. And my dad could figure out how to. He can cook in a hole in the ground or whatever, because he was just that type of person. So the pit was in the building, and that's one of the reasons he picked it.
Val, the thing that I hear over and over again, certainly the traditional barbecue stuff is legend and everybody loves it, but people bring up this Cornish game hen, which typically you don't see on a barbecue restaurant menu. Where did that evolve from?
My dad.
He's just a fan of game hens?
Mom, I think he and Mom just were, because I'm pretty sure he did them at home, just like he did turkeys, because we do whole turkeys, Thanksgiving and Christmas. Well, we actually will do them all year long, but we have a longer list Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I think he just used that as an alternative to like the chicken, to something different.
We're talking with Val Bradley here on the show, Cozy Corner BBQ.com, the website. And this is Desiree Robinson's daughter, who was just inducted in the 2020 BBQ Hall of Fame. So this is a family business, obviously. We're through, are we at 4 generations now that are involved in the website?
The fourth generation is a little young, but when they're here, some of the older ones can do some things around here. But yeah, it's 4 generations.
Do we see a time where somebody in the family is not going to have an interest, or is there always somebody coming up that is in the restaurant, that likes the food, that is bitten by the bug, or has the love and the passion that will continue this on for, decades and decades down the road?
Well, that's certainly an option that's left up to them. It's here. It's available. If this is what you want to do, because you need to. If you're going to be in this business, you need to want to do it, or it's going to be hard to do. My son came along when he finished college, and he came in. And he's now pretty much running it all. When I finished college, I came back and I worked for a little while with AT&T and worked here, and then I let AT&T go completely and came on in. And then my two daughters, they support us. My oldest daughter is in education, but she does the banana puddings that we sell. And then it's other things she can do to help, she does. And then my youngest daughter as well worked here for a while, but she's going into nursing now. So because that's what, we don't want to just smother what your natural incline is. Everybody's natural incline is not this, so you don't need to be here. You don't need for that to be your life work, because it's gonna make your life hard if you're doing something you don't enjoy.
Do any of them express a conversation to you about feeling a pressure where they have to get into it, or not so much?
No, that's not an option, because we don't. The only requirement we have of our children is you get your education, and you decide where you're gonna go. Now, you're not gonna come in here and work and you're not getting your education or have gotten it. You have to get a college degree. I've got my nephew is now, he'll be finished, I think, in December. He's getting his degree. Fine, and he's working while he's getting his degree. But that's the only requirement you get as far as that's concerned. If you want to come in, fine. If you don't, as long as you're taking care of yourself,
right,
we're good.
What's the key to making a dynamite banana pudding?
Again, there's the love and a good recipe.
I can't get the love at the store, Val. I mean, I need some help over here for crying out loud.
I'm sure you can. And I know there are people who say, well, I know how you do this. And you may well know, but that recipe my dad passed down. So my daughter has that, and she does it.
Well,
and I don't make it, so.
She's got the secret, and obviously it's going over very well, so continued success to her making a great banana. It's my favorite thing. I love barbecue meat and stuff, but in the end, my measure of a great barbecue restaurant is how good is the banana pudding at the end, because that's a real capper for me. So we're talking with Val Bradley and her mom, Desiree Robinson, just inducted here into the BBQ Hall of Fame, part of the class of 2020. And Val, I really appreciate you stepping in here and answering all these questions tonight as you're closing it up. Continued success, and hopefully we can talk again soon.
All right. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry about the mistake. I just wasn't thinking.
Not a problem. I appreciate it. There she is.
All right. Thank you.
Val Bradley, who is the daughter of BBQ Hall of Famer Desiree Robinson, right there. Oh, I hate the green screen. Right there you go. So if you were tuning in for Desiree, I'm sorry. Time zones. That's weird. Memphis, Tennessee. Is that Central Time? Does Tennessee split time zones? Because I think I've talked to other people that are in Eastern. I don't know. Can somebody email that to me? Because I don't have any other chat. The only downside of not going to Facebook or not going to YouTube. YouTube had a very nice chat that I could pop out and just kind of stick on the side of one of my screens. Facebook doesn't. You got to have the whole thing up and running. It's such a pain. So if you know anything about time zones in Tennessee, mucho appreciate. But Val steps in, goes yard with that interview. Great way to step in, unannounced. Green Mountain Grills. You know them, you love them. They're pellet cookers, some of the best ones out there today. 2 different lines to choose from, a choice line. So if you don't need all that wacky tech like Wi-Fi and internal meat probes and you want to save some money, choice line is the one. I got 2 choice lines on my patio right now. I got a prime cooker in my garage. breaking news coming up in the second hour, so stay tuned for that as it relates to the compound. But I do have a Prime line that's waiting to be put together. That has a pizza oven insert, by the way. Now, Prime, a little better built, or let's say more robust on the chassis. I love saying robust whenever I can. 2 internal meat probes. You got the Wi-Fi technology there. You got app integration on your smart device. You also have peek-in windows on the main cooking chamber and the pellet hopper. You have the little crank adjustment to pull the fire deflector left and right if you want. It's got the vacuum suck out. Memphis is Central Time, by the way. Confirmed. So go to greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. Check out everything that they have. Like Pits and Spits, they also sell through a dealer network. And the key to that is you can show up to the dealer, check out the inventory that they have, listen to them educate you on how you can properly use it. And the benefit of that is once you decide which model and version you want to get, like Prime and then the size, you get it home, you're well educated, you put it right to use. It's success right out of the box. No buyer's remorse. No, I don't know how to, I'm going to take it back. They've taken care of all that right at the top. Plus, you call for support, get all the accessories you want. Again, pizza oven insert for the Jim Bowie or the Daniel Boone is a must. If you're looking for something a little bit more travel-friendly, Davy Crockett's the one you're going to want to use. If you don't have access to a traditional power outlet, you can just plug it right in to the 12-volt adapter in your car. Right in a rock. Or take a car battery. They come with the clips, too. GreenMountainGrills.com. That's GreenMountainGrills.com. We're back to wrap up the first hour. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey now, this portion of the show is being brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant in your house, you're in luck because Fireboard is fully integrated with both. And don't forget, as announced on this show last week, Fireboard 2 is out. Big-ass LCD display. You got the graph if you want. You have big numbers if you want. And really, for all the additional FABs that you get with Fireboard 2 or Fireboard 2 Drive, I think it was like $220 or less. Still 6 channels. I have yet to put it to the max, but my brother-in-law, John, is a huge Fireboard honk ever since I turned him onto it. He bought all of the probes. When he fires up his cooker, he sticks them all over the place. I'm like, John, which one is the meat? He's like, hot spot over here, cold spot over here. Like, just stick in the internal meat probe. Don't worry about taking 5 other ambient temperatures of the pit. You're going to drive yourself nuts. But he can, because it's got 6 channels. Fireboard. Thanks again to Val Bradley, the daughter of Desiree Robinson. She's into the BBQ Hall of Fame, along with other first-hour guest, Aaron Franklin. Now that I'm thinking about it, would it have been both crazy and badass if Stacy Franklin would have answered Aaron's phone and been like, time zone adjustment, he forgot, but I'm going to step in and do this interview. Maybe that would have been really cool, too. Val knocks it out of the park for stepping in. Totally unannounced, too. If that were me, I would have been like, damn, I'm not doing this interview. Call back next week. I'm glad she did it. Got some great insight, got some great stories. Education in that family is paramount. I don't know if you picked up on that or not. We're heading to the second hour. Stick around. Be right back.
This is Jeff Stone of Grandpa's Fried Barbecue from the Panhandle of Florida, and you are listening to the BBQ Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
Oh, listen, Lavernia, it's a chicken feast.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome. It's a little thing called the BBQ Central Show, where we talk about barbecue and grilling items. We do it once a week, live right here.
We'll do it live.
Tuesdays from 9 to 11. It's a live show. Some Tuesday coming up. If you have nothing to do, you've watched all of the shows. Most of us have watched all of the shows. Safe to say. Try and remember, from 9 to 11 Eastern, I'm going to tune into the show. Catch it live.
We'll do it live.
Because we do it live. We're also recording, so if you missed the first hour, if you're just trolling through Facebook now to grab the video feed or listening on TuneIn and realizing that, oh my God, the first 3 minutes of this show are wildly entertaining. I've missed a whole hour of this? Oh, jeez. Well, I'm recording at the same time, so once I hit stop at 11 p.m. Eastern tonight, the Facebook video archive will be ready for available replay immediately. And then at 11:55 p.m. tonight, I release the podcast feed, first hour. It's at 11:55. I don't know when it actually makes it into your podcast catchers. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Typically, when I'm up at 5 getting ready to get the old 5K in, it's there on Google Podcast. And that's really the easiest way to, if you're going to do podcasting, just find the Google Podcast app. Even Apple has the Google Podcast app in their app store. So just get that and stop futzing around with multiple podcast catchers on different devices and platforms and all. Simplify, streamline processes. Plus, Google is like way cooler than most everybody, and they know everything. Where do you go when you don't know anything? Google. What do people tell you when you don't know something? Google it. So use the Google platform. It's great. It's very smart. Still to come on the show this evening, oh my God. Coming up next segment, we will learn once and for all who is the American Idol BBQ Central Show champion. Please be me. Please be me. Yes, Lisa. Please be me. We'll see. It won't be that long until we see if I am indeed the champion and gain the people's fame and adulation forever, or if it's going to be the new or newest embedded correspondent, Jeff Rice. I hope not. But the votes are in. The votes have been tallied. Record number of votes. Last month was a record number of votes compared to the first month. So from a popularity standpoint, American Idol BBQ Central Show Edition is a raging success. Now, not to the point where Weber and Kingsford and whatever big freaking name out there in the barbecue community is saying, hey, we want to sponsor BBQ Central's American Idol next season and pony up a prize pool of whatnot. And before you jump in and go, well, Greg, last week you said $100,000 to the winner. That was total lie. when I re-listened to the show, I didn't say, oh, that's a lie. I did say that immediately upon saying that the winner was also going to get a Sony Records recording contract. But maybe everybody drew that conclusion on their own. But I did not say that the money was BS. The money is BS. Myself or Reiser is not getting $100K cash if he or I win, and one of us is going to, this stupid singing contest. So don't think either of us are getting rich. And by the way, if somehow there was a $100,000 prize pool, since the votes are coming into me, even if Jeff won by 758 million votes, it would be me winning. For $100,000, I'll cheat. I hope that doesn't throw my values and moral compass right down the drain. But if the votes are coming into me and nobody else wants to set up shop through some type of price clearinghouse, water, Deloitte Touche, whatever the fuck it is, those odds are going in my favor. And I'm one of those people, run up the score in sports. Sportsmanship, run it up. If the second string is good, run it up. If the third string is good, run it up. I'm just going to, because I would expect somebody to run it up on me, so I'm going to run it up too. Likewise, in this kind of a contest, if $100,000 is on the line and I'm counting the votes and it's me or Reiser going to get $100,000, I'm getting $100,000. Let that be a lesson to all of you who are going to go into competition with me. Win if you can. As my dad always taught me, win if you can. Lose if you must. But always cheat. Always cheat. Because remember, it's only cheating if you get caught. And if you're not cheating, you're not trying. I got them all. People are tuning out left and right. Don't forget, you can follow me socially on various social media platforms, obviously, because I said you could follow me socially, at BBQ Central Show, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snappy Snap, /BBQ Central Show on Facebook. A lot of you are getting in on the Facebook likes and follows, and however the hell that works, I don't know. But a lot of you are getting on board. Coming up on the best moments of the BBQ Central Show in 10 minutes or less this Friday, episode 127 coming at you, taking you back to June 3rd, 2014. Remember the conversation I had with one Roland Neal? No? Maybe this will jog your memory. Roland Neal owns Mrs. Griffin's barbecue sauce. Now, does the name Mrs. Griffin's barbecue sauce jog your memory? No? Well, it only happens to be, potentially, one of the, if not the, oldest barbecue sauce in the United States of America. That's right. Lays claim to being the oldest barbecue sauce in the United States. So if you missed that conversation 6 years ago and you want to pick it up, you're going to get a whistle wetter on Friday, probably to the tune of 10 minutes or less. And then don't forget, within that post, there's a link to the whole show. Believe it or not, there's a whole other show around that bit. The whole segment, there's other segments within that show. This show's been going on for quite a long time. It's very fun. It's very exciting. Go back, listen, or make sure you're subscribed to the podcast to get the best of. Then click on the link and listen to the old show. That's fun. I've gotten a bunch of emails asking me when I'm going to do the podcast transparency segment that I mentioned on Facebook and the Tweeter a couple weeks ago. And I don't have an exact date locked in for that yet, only because I'm still doing some investigating and talking to experts in the industry, top men and women, if you will. And just know this. If you follow me on the social media platforms, you will know as soon as I lock it in. So if you're a business that is looking to do business with a podcast, you want to turn into this. If If you're a podcast creator and you want to start down the road of sponsorship and potentially making money, you will want to tune into this. Or even from a live perspective, if you will just want to get it on podcast, because I will be recording as well. So if you miss the live airing, you can grab the podcast. But I'm going to reveal the things you will need to know and do to stand out amongst the masses of charlatans that are out there trying to fleece you with their very lies. And the one thing that I have come to learn in this game, especially over the last 5 years or so, there are some seedy, lying-ass motherfuckers out there that are fooling some of the biggest brands in this live fire industry right now with their bullshit numbers and their inability to cook and their very real ability to lie. Some of you are on the clock, and the clock starts now. Be afraid. Be very afraid. And if you think I'm coming for you, then I'm probably coming for you. Let that be a warning. Seedy motherfuckers. Take it to the bank. All right, let me talk to you quickly about Southside Market and Barbecue. Established in 1882, Southside is the oldest barbecue joint in Texas. They've been owned and operated by the same family for 3 generations. Famous for the original beef sausage, which is coarse ground in a natural pork casing, and their authentic Central Texas barbecue meats. All meats, including the prime briskets, are smoked low and slow for many hours over real Texas post oak wood. Shipping nationwide via the online store, SouthsideMarket.com. Shipping customers can choose to order now and ship later, include a custom gift note, and mail to multiple addresses without additional charges. I do that for Christmas. All shipped items vacuum sealed to ensure freshness and ease of preparation for the customer. All the meats are processed in their on-site USDA-inspected facility, on-site meat markets for fresh and smoked products. 3 different restaurants. Elgin, Texas since 1882. Bastrop, Texas since 2014. Most recently, Austin, Texas, I believe. Grocery distribution through Texas and many surrounding states, like, let's say, Oklahoma. 10% off coupon if you're doing your shopping online. As you get ready to check out, use promo code BBQ Central. That's BBQ Central, lowercase, one word, and you get to save 10% off the entire order. First time, every time, all the time. 10% off, SouthsideMarket.com with promo code BBQ Central. Jeff Rice is in the green room with bated breath to see if he is going to be the debut champion of American Idol. And while I was just getting ready to start talking smack about the expert judges, they are starting to file in as well. Well, this is going to be a hoot. Stick around. We'll be right back. The mic's...
Monthly visits from a killer hog, a cooking guy, a man named Meathead, the author of Barbecue Bible, a grill girl, a bristly barbecue journalist, and the male feasts of the barbecue world known as the embedded correspondents. Only found right here on the BBQ Central Show.
And we welcome you back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available 2 sizes with a host of accessories. Whether you're a beginner or professional, definitely a cooker you want to add to the arsenal, visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the BBQ Central show sent you. All right, so we have an open subject. This is traditionally where you would find Sam, the cooking guy, but he told me to go pound salt. He's got money to be made, I guess. I'm speculating, but why else would you not be here on the show? Girls, can you believe that Sam told me to go pound salt?
That's ridiculous.
Totally ridiculous.
Crazy.
Ricer, can you believe that Sam, the cooking guy, said go... you got your echo button on there, buddy.
Me?
No, not you. Jeff
Got
Rice
it.
has a lot of cool technical stuff, but sometimes you push a lot of buttons and you hear yourself again. Can you believe that Sam, the cooking guy, was like, "Hey, fill the segment. I'm going to do other stuff."
No, I'm highly disappointed in him, to be
Yes.
honest with you.
This is the place to be on a Tuesday night. I mean, look, I got.
What else does he have to do?
I know. I mean, I got 3 eligible gals here in the teenage years that
I
could
have
be
stuff to do.
doing plenty of other things, I would imagine,
Yeah.
that would be way more
I got
exciting.
a lot to do.
But this is
Definitely.
the pinnacle of things to do right here.
Okay.
Be right here on the show. Hold on. Let me adjust the camera here so I
I
can
can't believe he would say that to you.
get everybody. Oh, that's all right.
He's fake.
He's a very big
He's
star.
fake.
He's got over almost 2 million YouTube subscribers. I can't believe he comes on as much as he does.
I know people who have 16 million.
You don't know them.
I know.
No, I know Sam. I know Ricer. How many YouTube subscribers do you have right now?
7,000.
Look at that guy. He's a budding star. I know Jeff Rice.
I have 0.
Jeff Rice comes on the show and actually sings, and he's got 7,000 followers. He had 10,000 last week, but then he sang, and now he's got 7,000 followers. That's what happens here.
How many do you
Wow.
have?
Yeah.
I think I have just over 1,000.
Oh.
Yeah. But I find YouTube to be cumbersome, and I actually eliminated the live stream today. And so we're only going live to Facebook and to TuneIn. Yeah. No, that's not what they all say. I'm telling you exactly what I'm saying. That I can't have time for that right now. I need to conserve my bandwidth.
For what?
So I can have a proper connection with Jeff, who's in Wisconsin, so my CPU doesn't blow up. I mean, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that, you think it's all just me floating along here behind the microphone and magically it happens for 2 hours every Tuesday. There's a lot of work that goes into this, ladies.
I know.
Of course.
I watched you do it.
Yes, that's right. All right.
I had wings.
Ladies,
Yeah,
here we go.
sometimes I edit your videos.
Sometimes.
I used to do your show.
Like last year.
Yep. It's time.
Fire. This is my first one.
It's time.
I think it's something.
Gal.
Shut up.
Gal.
Shut up.
Gal. It's time. It's time to find out who's going to pull off the win for American Idol Barbecue Central Show Edition. It's very exciting.
This is like a voice.
Man, oh man. Well, no, this is like
Okay.
American Idol, of course. That's why we call it American Idol Barbecue Central
I
Show.
know.
Next season, it will be The Voice Barbecue Central Show.
Oh, wow.
Fun.
Why not? All right. Now, quickly, as we look back on last week, some of the things that stuck out. For instance, I don't know if you guys recall this or not, but this actually happened right here on this show. Remember this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounded a little more like this.
Around the crown and everybody's
Yes.
getting down. And this
Perfect
town
harmonies.
ain't never gonna be
Nailing
the
it.
same. 'Cause I saddle
Where's
up
Big
my
and Rich?
horse and
Where's
I
Ricer
ride
and
into
Rempy?
the
It's like
city.
one and the
I
same.
make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
'Cause the girls, they are so pretty.
Everybody remembers that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
How could you forget?
That then burned in your mind forever and ever. Then, outside of the recorded duet, we took it a step further on the lives and went live. We actually did it live and sang our own songs. Jeff sang, of course. Jeff, what did you sing last week?
Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash.
Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash, a well-known standard, I think it's fair to say, in the country music world. And I went with the standard R&B smash of the late 90s, Anytime by Brian McKnight, which, after further review, may or may not have played to my success or detriment. Ladies, let's, everybody can see you, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, Maddie, let's start with you first as you recollect over the lives last week. Your thoughts as we get ready to learn who the winner of American Idol Barbecue Central Show Edition is.
I think that you did good and you chose a song that sort of pushed your limits.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Ricer could have picked a song where it was less just talking and more singing and actually pushing himself and not taking the easy way out. But that's okay.
All right.
We're doing both of you at the same time?
Well, I mean, one and then the other. Marley, your thoughts on the live singing from last week?
I think you both did well.
I have to agree with Maddie. You did push your limits more, but Ricer picked a more not pushing limits song, I guess you could say.
Good words.
It's interesting language. Go ahead.
What? I can't speak. She doesn't know how to speak.
That's all right.
Don't.
Okay, go ahead. No, hold on.
My
I don't think... Marley, are you done?
Yeah.
Did you review me?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
She said you both did well.
Go ahead, Bobby.
I think it was Ricer's best performance of the whole series.
Yes. Season. Let's call it a season. Why not?
Season.
Yeah.
I do think it was an easier song to pick for a finale. I would have preferred like a bang, wow, but that's okay. You, Greg.
Yes.
Picked more of an outgoing song, but I'm not 100% certain it was like the right outgoing song.
Because it wasn't well known, or...
Well, I didn't know it, I don't think.
Okay.
But it was also like almost too much for you.
It was too much of a I pushed myself too far to the limits. It was outside the limits, let's say that.
It was too much of a pushing limit song.
Ah.
It was way too hard.
All right. Jeff, what did you think of my song?
Well, you certainly have awesome singing skills, to be honest with you.
Unquestioned.
I mean, you can, you without a doubt, you can hold a tune for sure. So.
Well, and likewise, Jeff, I thought you nailed your performance. And as we had talked through the course of the week, you know, sometimes song choice, not sometimes, when you hear these singing shows, they always talk about song choice being key. And one week it's great, but then one week you pick a bad song, and then all of a sudden, you know, you find yourself on the outside looking in. That's it.
Oh.
All right. Well,
For this.
we've come down to it. There's been a record number of votes accumulated over the course of the week. Why, in the first 24 hours of voting, I have specific numbers that are verified. Over 187 votes were cast in the first 24 hours.
187?
In the first 24 hours.
Wow.
A total of 368 votes.
I thought.
And I'm telling you right now, in the first 24 hours, the decision was already cast. The term boat race comes to mind. It is my great pleasure to announce to you the 2020 first ever American Idol BBQ Central show winner. And that person, with well over 360 votes, is none other than the man from Wisconsin, Jeff Rice, the winner! The first ever American Idol BBQ Central show in crushing fashion.
Good job.
Wow.
I mean, to see the votes coming in,
Yeah.
I wanted to eliminate all email addresses that I had just so I could stop the bleeding. The ego took a swift kick to the balls early and often, and it was terrible. Girls, you've heard the results in a dramatic, in a dramatic beatdown, perhaps that will likely never be matched again in the history of future seasons. Bobby, what do you think of the results? Justified, yes or no?
Yes. I think it was, or no, I don't know. Yes. I don't know.
Are you paying attention to the show tonight?
I don't know.
It means.
I think he.
Should there have been that big of a gap?
Oh. I don't know about that big. That's a lot of votes ahead of you.
No doubt.
But I think he did a good job, and you did a good job. You know what I mean?
Yep, Maddie, your thoughts on the gap?
I think that because of the song that you chose and the song that he chose,
Yes.
it kind of makes sense just because not a lot of people knew your song. But in my defense, I didn't know his song either.
I didn't know.
But I
his
feel
song.
like a lot of the listeners might have known that song,
Mm.
so it kind of makes sense. But you guys both did a good job. So that's good.
All right, Maddie, Marley, what do you think in the end?
I thought that the votes would have been closer together because I think you both did good, but I think he just got it.
You're surprised that there was that big of a gap. No doubt. Yeah, I can. All right, let's go to the winner of American Idol for his acceptance speech. Talk to the judges, of course, Jeff. It's Jeff Reiser for American Idol BBQ Central Show Edition. Here he is.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I'm shocked. I mean, I thought I was going to get my plate handed to me, to be honest with you. I thought I had no clue. Part of my probably my instincts is I'm a football coach for youth football, and I think my defensive football brain came into fashion, and I did make it simple. Let's just get out there and make it simple. But girls, you really enhanced my singing abilities by far, to be honest with you, because you pushed me to the limits, and I was working pretty hard for a few weeks on a different song, and at the last minute I changed it, and I think it was because a little bit of the the pushing yourself. I thought if I push myself, I'll completely collapse on the air. So I did take maybe a little bit simpler, but again, I appreciate you guys telling me to sing harder and do better and try. So I did my best, and I appreciate all of the people that voted for me, to be honest.
Jeff, what was the song that you were working on that you dumped?
Du hast mich by Rammstein.
You got to be kidding me. Oh, my God, I would have won. I can tell you right now, of the people that are sitting in this room, that would have earned you one vote from the lady that you see on the left. Du hast from Rammstein. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maddie is a huge German rock fan, believe it or not. Du hast.
All right.
Maddie, sing a little Du hast. Go. You're not going to sing it? All right.
Do you know that song?
Yeah.
She does know that. Yeah. Okay.
Dad and I know.
Well, there you go. There's Jeff Rice, the American Idol BBQ Central Show, first ever. Ladies, thank you for being expert judges of the season.
You are welcome.
And if we can pick up a sponsor that will actually give us $100,000 next year, then we'll have a season 2.
You should make him a thing like on a piece of paper so we can hang it up.
Yeah.
How dare
that
you?
You can't take away from me.
Yeah, we'll get you a trophy. Well, you can't take away video. It lives on the internet forever, so people will be able to go. There you go. All right, so that brings a close to the American Idol. Jeff, thanks for joining me, of course.
Thank you.
And ladies, thank you for joining me, of course.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
And we are going to dial up one of my favorite people to chat with right now.
Fun.
His name, of course.
Do you need us?
I do not. You are free to exit as you see fit.
Goodbye, everybody.
Right. See ya.
See you guys later. It's the expert judges right there on the show. As we learned my fate recently as not winning the BBQ Central Show's initial American Idol. Shame on me. Chad, I don't know if you heard the results or not. By the way, we're being joined by Chad Ward from Whiskey Bent Barbecue. I'm going to throw him in here in just 1 second so you don't think I'm lying. Where the hell is it? There it is. There he is. There's Chad Ward right there. Look at this guy. How about that? The guy from Wisconsin beat my ass to the tune of plus 300 votes in the singing contest. I went R&B, Brian McKnight for the final to really show the audience that I was willing to push the limits of my singing ability. Jeff goes with Johnny Cash, Ring of Fire, which requires zero singing ability whatsoever. You just have to have a nice deep voice and cadence. What do you think? I mean, you're a master of talent evaluation.
I think you had to go with something, Greg, that was a little more, a little more finale-ish. And I understand you're trying to show all those rights off,
the runs and all that.
Those skills off, but I mean, you got to go with something a little more upbeat than that. So I'm going to give you a bad judgment on picking that one.
Yeah, there you go. It's all about song choice, as the judges say. Look,
you got to go with something a little more karaoke-ish. You know what I mean? Like maybe some Garth Brooks. I got friends in low places, something like that. Like get the crowd going, get them feeling it.
Right, well, I'm going to consult you if we ever have a season 2 and B if I ever make it back to the finals. You'll be on speed dial for song consultation, no doubt about it. So I wanted to have you on here as we close out the first segment here in the second hour. One of my most one of my favorite conversations that I have ever had in the history of this show. There have been thousands and thousands. A handful of years ago, you're at the World Food Championships. You come back on a Tuesday to recount your trials and tribulations. I think maybe it was in Vegas that year still, or when it was at Vegas.
Yep.
So it was the first couple of years that World Food Championships was going on. And you begin to regale me with a story that involves a Craigslist trapper, but not just any trapper, a bear trapper, and not just any bear, an 800-pound bear. And it goes on and on. Let's clear the air right now. Hold on. Let's clear the air right now. Is this a true story or not a true story?
This was I would say it was a bit of a fabrication, but it was such a good story to tell at the cook meeting. When you ask a question of, is a bear legal? And everybody looks at you as like, what in the heck is going on? Yeah, that was, and it was one of those where it's like, we made the top 10, so we partied really hard the night before, and it's one of those where you kind of got to the cooks meeting and you're like, am I hungover? Am I still a little bit buzzed? Like, what's going on? And I just thought it was great, so I just ran with it.
So were people thinking, oh my God, I mean, because it's not like you guys have a pristine reputation. I mean, you guys are a little rambunctious from time to time, especially back then before you really started to dial it in and hone in. You guys have been known to party a little bit, be a little bit brash and so forth. So were people really like, man, it's 50-50 with this guy. He might be pulling our leg, but he might be pulling in an 800-pound bear to cook running style on a pit from Brad Orson.
Yes, I would say there were some people that were like whispering in the background, like, do you think Chad's really going to go through with that? And so like to the point of view that like Matt Van and those guys went and got the groceries we had planned on cooking.
Oh, wow.
And I stayed back and people were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, dude, the trapper should be here any minute. Like I can't take a chance of him showing up and not one of us being here to, take possession of this thing.
So you were playing it right to the hilt.
Yeah, you got to be a showman. I mean, if you're going to tell a story, make it authentic.
Well, this has spawned, one of the things that I like to do is go on the internet and find things. Joe Rogan obviously has a huge podcast, getting paid multi hundreds of millions of dollars here recently through Spotify. But one of the things he has on YouTube are animated parts of his podcast. And I said, man, I think it would be pretty cool to find somebody that might be able to do that. So I started scouring the internet. I found somebody here locally, believe it or not, who does this type of thing. Talked to you and said, hey, do you have any issue with me animating the best bit ever that has graced the airwaves and internet waves of the show? And you said, hey, absolutely. So we worked out through our character descriptions here. And again, animated, but it's finished and it's ready to go. And I wanted to unveil it with you here tonight. Are you ready for the public unveil?
Can't wait. Let's do it.
Like Bart Scott. Can't wait. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the animated Chad Ward bear story from World Food Championships world premiere right now.
Well, the problem was I had a trapper that had caught me a bear.
Like a real trapper.
Yeah, I had a bear. I had a bear on lockdown.
Who does?
I was going to use Brad Orson's from the Shed's pit, and I was going to cook that bear running style.
What?
Hot and fast for 2 hours.
Really?
I was just going to get the loin off of it, man.
How big was the bear?
It was like 800 pounds.
What?
Look, the trapper already had it field dressed. Brad had already said I could use the
my
God. We were going to do it. Because, dude, think about that presentation. I was going to cut the head off that bear and have a salmon fillet in his mouth. There is nothing that says surf and turf like a salmon in a bear's mouth.
You're damn right.
So, little do you know, this was a bogus trapper. So thank God we had 30 pounds of skirt steak in the cooler. So we get the word about 20 minutes into go time. Trapper's not coming. We got no bear. So we did skirt steak tacos and salmon tacos.
How about that? World premiere of the animated bit. What do you think after seeing it?
Man, it is awesome. That is so funny. The only line that I remember from that story that I wish we would have been able to work in there was, "Never trust a bear trapper you meet on Craigslist."
Yes, right.
That was a solid. But dude, that guy did an awesome job. That was great.
Yeah, when you go back and listen to it, I had re-fired up the actual video and made a quick bumper. And every once in a while, I'll post it. And it's a great video to watch as it happened during the show because, I'm sitting there and my mind is just boggling. You tell me that it's an 800-pound bear. I'm like, man, this is a real-ass bear. And he found this guy on Craigslist, and this could be a catfish attempt. I'm worried for your safety. And, then you're like, well, little you know that this bear trapper was fake. I'm like, oh, my. The story was unbelievable. So to sit here and find a guy who was able to animate it, and his animation was absolutely spectacular, was great. So, the goal here is obviously to comb through and find some, 1 or 2 minute bits that we can start posting up to the YouTube page and stuff like this. But I just wanted to say that, from your history with this show, Chad, it's unquestioned that you are one of the best recurring guests. You're a BBQ Central Show guest Hall of Famer already, and we know that. But the fact that we have been able to remain friends over the better part of 10 years or so, and the content that you have brought to the show and the business that we have done together with the show is certainly unrivaled. And I just wanted you to know that I appreciate you both from a friendship standpoint and a business standpoint. You're really one of the best guys out there.
Well, Greg, thank you so much for that. And like I said, I remember when I first got into barbecue, I leaned on this show so much to talk to folks and get to know the personalities out there. And I always felt like even when I had my show and me and you talked about it, like when you have a show like this, it makes you understand that like so many people in the barbecue world are approachable, and people learn some of these, oh, I didn't know he was a Packers fan, or I didn't know this. It gives them these talking points that they can use to feel comfortable at a competition or at a barbecue event to go up and introduce themselves and say, hey, I heard you on Greg's show, or I heard you on Chad's show, or I heard you on this podcast. You know what I mean? So I think, I've always said you were the pioneer of barbecue podcast. You took it to the next level. Your production quality is amazing. And even when I wanted to start my show, you were such a great friend and so helpful. And so, man, I echo those same thoughts. I appreciate the friendship, and I love everything we've done. And if I can, anytime you text me or give me the call and say, hey, I need you, I'd love to be here. Love the Centralites.
All right, Chad. Well, I certainly appreciate the time you've made this evening, and go watch that cartoon 100 billion times because I know I'm going to.
Will do, man. Take care, guys. Thank you so much, Greg.
There he is, Chad Ward from Whiskey Bent Barbecue right there, as we have debuted the animation of the bear story from Chad's World Food Championship. I'm still trying to find the original show so I can actually point back to it so you can hear everything, but man, that's so fun and so exciting. Happy to share that with Chad and all of you as we debut the first animated bit. We have Dane Neal coming up out of the break as we went a little long here with announcing the American Idol BBQ Central Show edition, that being Jeff Rice in a landslide victory, and then Chad Ward with Traeger Grills, TraegerGrills.com, unveiling the animated story, the animated bear story. If you want an animated bit, I can't believe I can actually say this now, but I know a guy. He's in Stowe, Ohio, which is like 25 minutes away from me. I had no idea. But if you're looking for, I can make the connection. All right, we're back with Dane Neal right after this. Stick around.
Celebrating over 10 years of prolific and unparalleled live fire barbecue and grilling talk. And yes, it's still being done from Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show.
All right, thanks again to Chad Ward and the expert judges and Jeff Rice for joining me last segment. This portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. Head to smithfield.com throughout the grilling season as recipes And tips and tricks are shared by World Championship pitmasters like Chris Lilly, Darren Worth, Ernest Cervantes, and Charles Cridlin with mouth-watering flavor and no artificial ingredients. Smithfield Fresh Pork, quite simply the finest pork money can buy. It's trusted choice of World Championship pitmasters for use in competitions and at home. That's right. Okay, coming out of the bullpen this evening. Can be heard each Saturday from 2 to 4 Central on his show via the mega blowtorch known as WGN 720 in Chicago. He is the host of the On the Road with Dane, a lover of live fire, barbecue grilling, and eating in general. And we have a fight tonight as we race to the hotline and welcome back Dane Neal to the show. Hey, Dane.
Hey, Greg. Good to talk to you. It is great. You're a lover of eating. I see you've been monitoring my photos as you see me expanding into other sizes. I'm wearing a XXX medium at this point.
Well, that is barbecue medium, no doubt about it. XXX. I mean, way to go. I do have a quad XL BBQ Central show shirt, so if you keep trying really hard and you cross over that threshold, I'll send you the shirt free of charge.
It's not for lack of desire, passion, commitment, and all that kind of thing. I just don't have the bone structure for it. I don't think I could physically hold the weight I would like to have. So I don't know. I may have to maybe just an XL. I think is where I'll top out.
All right,
all I can handle.
No problem. Don't eat on my account, Dane. Stay healthy. Stay trim. All that good stuff. Dane Neal joining me here on the show. WGN, is it WGNradio.com? Is that the best website?
Yep.
Right,
yeah, WGNradio.com is the place to go. We've got a brand new website and all that stuff, and you can just check it out there. Lots of great features. Of course, we handle a lot of the food stuff for WGN and also motorsports and some travel and all the things, Greg, that aren't happening right now. We cover them all.
Yes, well, nothing like covering all the things that aren't happening for job security, no doubt about it. Now, we have an interesting thing that's going on here, though, Dane, which is called BBQ Fite Klub. And I'm a man of total peace, of course. I say with peace and love, but I think I might like a BBQ Fite Klub scenario. So for the folks that aren't aware or been seeing some promo on this, give me the lowdown on what this event is all about.
Yeah. So this is one of those kind of moment in time things where you've got just like a lot of different people, whether it's in a lot of different vocations in sports and certainly in competition barbecue. So many people are on the sidelines, right? And so this was one of those opportunities where we just said, this is kind of a place in time to be able to make something happen. Give fans of barbecue, give fans of some of these personalities, something kind of cool and different to be able to check out, and kind of replicate. And we've all seen all the food TV. We've worked in and around a lot of it. Nothing wrong with it. It's all awesome. But to be able to highlight, KCBS, real competition, real, world champion pitmasters, not just personalities, have them in one place on one night with real KCBS judges, and kind of highlight what it is that they do, but in sort of that concentrated setting, and do it all for a global audience. So the first time ever that's happened for live pay-per-view.
Will this be something that is on a pay-per-view channel through a cable provider, or is it going to be a pay-per-view through some type of a web service? How do you hook up with this?
So this is on Fight TV, and so Fight TV they're like the leading global platform for mixed martial arts, and they do all the UFCs and all the professional wrestling, and anytime there's a big time fight, Manny Pacquiao versus Mayweather, they're the ones that handle that. So they do that. They do that over 100 countries. And so that's where it would be is at Fight.tv. But it's available so you can get it on your streaming service. You can watch it on your phone, whatever. Anybody's got a smart TV or your Roku or anything like that, you're able to go ahead and watch it as well. And so it's available everywhere. I know that for the Moto Fight Club, which is some of our kind of the genesis of the whole thing, is they did this last time with some of the biggest stars in Supercross. They're partners with this huge barbecue fans. They were with us supporting in a part of the BBQ Smoke down at Chicagoland Speedway. So there's a motorsports connection there. They did it for the first time ever. They took 10 of the top Supercross riders in history, put them in an undisclosed location because of the pandemic. You don't need a crowd there. They could draw a crowd, but that's not what they were looking for. and did match fixing, kind of have this collection of greats in one place to do it. And it was bought in over 70 countries. And so barbecue has that same, we think about it just as, kind of our indigenous, American food, and it is. But our stars, it's expanding, and I think the desire for, and I think the appreciation for American barbecue is happening all over the world. Our stars are traveling ever, and KCBS, they sanction contests in 42 countries.
Yep.
So there's going to be a lot of people interested in seeing this.
Who is going to be taking place during the fight?
I don't know. So the Fite Klub, that is, so it's Fight TV, so that's the word there. I hope there won't be any fighting, but then again,
I do. I hope. I mean, TV and fighting is ratings, I think. So I hope there's fisticuffs aplenty.
And if we've ever seen hockey, right? That's one of the things that does it. So what we wanted to do is, you think to yourself, when it first got brought up to me, I'm thinking like, well, food has never been like a pay-per-view thing. We have great food entertainment. It's all free. It's all, other than maybe your kind of tell-all brisket recipe or different subscription services, it's just not the kind of thing that you typically pay for. So you'd have to think like, what would be something special? What would be something that would make it an event? Would be to do it in one night with all of these greats. We've got 6 different pitmasters in there that are there. We've got Kelly Wirtz from Four Legs Up Barbecue. We've got Bill Gillespie from Smokin' Hogs. We've got Bethany McAllister from 913. We've got Luke Darnell from Old Virginia Smoke. We've got Darren Worth. You can't have a great matchup without one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, in there as well. And so it's a collection that you would not necessarily see all together and only against each other. And then we've got 6 judges too. So we've only announced 3 of the judges so far. So Ray Lampy, Dr. Barbecue. Now these are personalities. Obviously you see them on TV all the time, but they are, they walk the walk as a certified judge as well, all that street cred. So It's a little different than, Chopped or Iron Chef, right? Where you've got, great personalities. Certainly they know what they're talking about, but there's no, it's boring. The sports element just isn't into it. So they got Emily Detweiler from KCBS, and this is going to be a sanctioned KCBS contest, and so she's going to be in there as well. And I know you appreciate what it is that she's been doing. So she's been, I think, a great kind of force in barbecue since she's got over there, and it's great to have her there as well. And then Scotty Johnson, who is local, he's one of our Chicago guys, but I would say by far the most accomplished competition pitmaster in Chicago, Jack champion, world champion. So he'll be there dispensing his Midwestern common sense and kind of just the straight talk that he's famous for. And then I'm actually going to announce something. We weren't going to announce this until tomorrow, but I'm going to break a little bit of news on the BBQ Central show.
Let me give you the sounder. Let me give you the sounder.
A BBQ Central show exclusive news update.
All right, Greg Rempe reporting from the breaking news desk here in Cleveland, Ohio, as we get ready to throw it down to Dane Neal for late breaking news. Go ahead, Dane.
Added to the roster and announced, it'll be a major announcement tomorrow and in the press releases. Leanne Whippen is going to be another one of our celebrity, but also very serious barbecue street cred judges for BBQ Fite Klub.
Wowee, and a semi-finalist on the 2020 BBQ Hall of Fame list this year as well.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of representation. You think about it, and for the listeners and viewers, right? They know that you are the live breaking news of barbecue. There's nobody doing what it is that you do. And for the Hall of Fame, because you have Blues Hog, obviously Tim Shear from Shake and Bake. He's one of the other competitors there too. He rounds out the list, of course, representing Blues Hog. And Darren Worth was nominated as well.
Yep.
So we're going to have great potential Hall of Fame representation.
When is this all going down?
So there's going to be 2 things that are happening. So on the 8th, which is Monday, there's going to be a live round table. So think about all of these personalities, these great pit masters. They're going to be there with some of the other personalities. Just basically, I don't want to say shooting the breeze. They're going to talk a little bit about career barbecue. They're going to talk about maybe some great, maybe unknown contest moments, some funny things that have happened, maybe some challenges. But also, too, it's going to highlight what I think has really been underserved with traditional food TV, which is the most important part. And these guys aren't, in it not to win titles and championships, and that's great. And the trophies are awesome. But it's the community. It's that camaraderie. It's people don't get there, on a Wednesday, on a Thursday for a Saturday competition because they hate the people they're hanging out with. And that is one of I think, the true special parts about barbecue. So we're going to get into all of that. We're going to have interviews with each one of the teams. It's a free preview, and that is Monday coming up. I think it's 5 p.m. Central Time. So you can click in. If you get that, you can check it out. We'll be previewing all of the stuff. And then Tuesday at 5 p.m. is when BBQ Fite Klub will be there, and we'll have all the action from the competition itself.
If you tune in on Tuesday, is this something where when you tune in on a 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, that it's going to be a 4 or 5 or 6 hour event, or are you only doing one category, or is this going to be a whole shooting match?
It's going to we're going to be building in some of the interviews and some of the vignettes and some of that background to give people from all over the world kind of a taste of who these people are. And so we've been doing production meetings. We've only had about a week and a half to put this together. So to figure out exactly how we're going to do it, everything is going to be shot on that day, and everything is going to be that day. There's going to be a lot of live stuff we're going to try to fill with some of this really great content. Some of those, times we've talked about it, Greg, ourselves. Barbecue isn't necessarily, something that has a big forward-facing public entertainment component built right into it. Yeah. So we're going to be working on that. But we've got 3 cameras. We've got drone. We've got a drone. We've got an opportunity to get in there and see how these guys are working. It's going to be all 4 meets. We're going to have all of that, and then of course conversations with the judges and a championship belt at the end for the winner.
Is there cash dollar bills at the end too, or just belts?
Well, no. Okay, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
So since this is a pay-per-view, people ask okay, so where does the money go? Obviously, a good percentage of it goes to the platform, right?
Sure.
All the things that are necessary to create, a global broadcast and the production team and all that kind of stuff. But we wanted to, especially in this time, be able to. I've always been a charity guy and raising awareness for great causes, and I know some of the pitmasters have some charities that they're going to be raising dollars for, which is going to be great. And then of course, Operation Barbecue Relief is near and dear to a lot of the things that we do, so they'll be one of the kind of overarching causes supporting. And KCBS, we think of them as kind of the creators of great experiences and contests, but it's a non-for-profit as well. So we're going to be supporting KCBS, and then based on, and this is the way we did it with Moto Fite Klub, because there isn't any of the normal either marketing and promotion and things. It's not television commercials or ads. Just some great interviews on the BBQ Central show. We're going to cut in. We want to build into the pay-per-view and be super transparent about it. The pitmasters themselves, and even the judges, because they are the talent that's doing this, and so they'll be a part of it. We're going to need them to help kind of spread the word and share it with their fans, and of course, we'll do all of the kind of traditional media that we can on our end too. But we want everybody to benefit from this, including some great causes.
Dane Neal joining me here on the show, talking about BBQ Fite Klub that's going to be coming up next week. So you have the free preview coming up on June 8th, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. And then Tuesday, June 9th, is going to be the main event, which you're actually going to have to get down for. And that's a ticket price of $9.99, correct? Yeah.
Well, and there was some, I don't want to say pushback, but people, so for Moto Fite Klub and certainly for the fights, if you're going to watch, heavyweight championship fight, I haven't bought one in a while, but I know it's like $50, $60 for some of that stuff. And so the price point for pay-per-view is high. I wanted it, especially when, we don't want to make it where people feel like they need to congregate. When I was a kid or a young adult, we would all get together at one person's house, and we only had to buy it once, and plus it was like a party. Well, with the pandemic and social distancing, and we'll have those protocols observed. This way you can feel like you can get it yourself, and it's not the end of the world. And plus, this is new. No one's ever done anything like this, and so I fought to make it as reasonable as possible so that people can do it. We've never had a pay-per-view food event, but I love the idea of kind of presenting these personalities in a main event kind of prize fight style that just is, I think, worthy of what it is that they do, and hopefully what you'll see on Tuesday.
What are you doing for the production, Dave?
I am one of the commentators. So, are you familiar with Stretch Ruminer? Of course, he's an artist. He's the one that creates the trophies for the BBQ Hall of Fame. He's a television guy. He does it all. And of course he's got a lot of great establishments down there in Kansas City.
Yeah,
so
everybody knows.
He and I are going to be the commentators.
Yep.
So we're going to be So we'll be there in our gold ABC Wide World of sport coats, and we will be kind of calling all the action and saying things like "back to you" and all of that.
All right. So if you are down for watching some competition barbecue the beginning of next week, again, the free preview June 8th at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, and then the main event the following night on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. Check it out. What's the website again, Dane?
It's Fite.tv, and then all the social media is BBQ Fite, and it's Fite, it's F-I-T-E, and then Club, K-L-U-B, so BBQ Fite Klub across all the social media. And I have to say, too, I wanted to mention this, is that Snake River Farms is going to be in on this stuff, too. We just talked with them, and so they're going to be bringing in some of their world-class products.
All right, so it sounds like a very exciting first attempt, and I myself am going to be watching for sure to see how this whole thing goes. I love to see how productions and live things happen and come together, because you never know what's going to happen in live production. That's why I tell everybody, if you never watch this show, you got to watch it live once, because you never know what kind of mischievous malfeasance and ne'er-do-wells are going to show up, or tech things that are going to be happening, and seeing how people overcome adversity, as I like to say. But hopefully none of that stuff is going to happen to you guys. And Stretch is a great co-host, so you guys know a whole bunch, and you know how to talk, so it should be a gas, as they say.
It should be good. And and I'm glad you mentioned it, because that's one of the things. A lot of these guys have been in and around some of the traditional television, and there's sometimes it's contrived drama, and they're trying to make TV. So this is going to be just real drama, but hopefully, it won't be any kind of fake or contrived stuff. It's just going to be showcasing these guys doing what they do at the highest level.
All right, sounds good. This is Dane Neal. You can catch him on his normal show, On the Road with Dane, over on WGN 720 at the WGNradio.com if you're not in the local Chicagoland area. And don't forget to check him out this coming week on June 8th and June 9th for BBQ Fite Klub. Dane, good luck, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for having me.
You got it. There he is. Dane Neal is doing online barbecue pay-per-views. How about that? Who's getting down for the barbecue pay-per-view next week? Free on the 8th, $9.99 on Tuesday for the big competition. Before you do that, head on over to BigPapaSmokers.com and get all the rubs and sauces that your heart desires. Big Papa's has 13 perfectly balanced flavors of rubs and seasonings. They also own Granny's barbecue sauce. So if you're looking for a new go-to sauce that will please everybody, Granny's traditionally have powerful flavors remind us why we fell in love with barbecue in the first place. And aside from the premium selection of rubs and sauces, they got all the cookers, like a versatile, easy-to-use Mac 2-star General pellet cooker. Big Papa Smokers, the exclusive Mac dealer, even offering special packages. Not a fan of the pellet cooker? All right. Take a look at that All Hickory Ace BP. It's the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his competition trailer. And if you're not sure of what grill to get, call them, why don't you? 877-828-0727. Or shop their website at BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA Smokers.com. Back to wrap the whole show right after this. Stick around.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
All right, we're back, and this portion of the show being brought to you by The Smoke Sheet. Sign up at bbqnewsletter.com and get a weekly delivery into your inbox. A great resource covering all of the live fire industry stuff that you'll want and need. bbqnewsletter.com. All right, all the way back in the first hour, we talked with Aaron Franklin. Remember that? BBQ Hall of Famer. We also attempted to talk with Desiree Robinson, but got her daughter, Val Bradley, and we talked to her about Desiree getting into the BBQ Hall of Fame. Second hour, Jeff Rice wins American Idol. Chad Ward helps me debut the Chad Ward Bear Story animation, and Dane Neal talks about BBQ Fite Klub. Big show planned for you next Tuesday, as always, September 11, 2001. I will never forget. Till next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
This is Maddie Rempe from Cleveland, Ohio, and you're listening to BBQ Central.